If you're gonna be late, then be so late that the next season is gonna release. How's it going, everyone? I'm Keegs, and today we're gonna be talking about what I think is one of the best anime that I have seen in quite a while, Vinland Saga. Season 1 spoiler warning. Just jumping right into the meat of the show though, I knew from the very first episode that Thors was unfortunately going to die, because anytime you have a character that is that strong or that powerful, so unstoppable, then it would just make the show less interesting if he was around, because he could solve all of their problems fairly easily. It's kind of like the Superman conundrum. Writing for Superman is really hard because there's only a couple things that can take him down, otherwise he's just really hard to write for because nothing should be able to realistically stop him or pose any sort of threat, and that's how Thors was. One of the only ways to beat a Superman-esque character is to put him in a position where he willingly sacrifices himself, which obviously Askeladd realized and was smart enough to use that against him. That being said, it didn't make it any less sad, and especially for Thorfinn, because you could just feel the pain in his eyes, and he looked up to his father, and it was just someone that he really, wanted to be just like when he grew up, and to see him lose it like that obviously was heartbreaking, and it's obviously something that he is not going to get over anytime soon. I'm not even confident that he'll have gotten over it in the next season when that comes out. I think there's still going to be a much longer journey for him. At first too, I thought that Thors might have been able to throw his sword into the face of the pirate real quick and kind of free his son, saving him. But I kind of remembered two things. One, he didn't kill anybody, and I think he would have been required to kill that pirate to save his son in that situation. And two, all of the archers were still locked onto them, so if he had done that, then I think there would have been a lot more casualties. And clearly he was someone that didn't want to see any more death. He didn't want to see anybody die, so he was going to do whatever it took to make sure that everybody got out of this as safely as possible, obviously with the exception for himself. Askeladd ends up becoming a father figure to Thorfinn, and even though Thorfinn kept saying that he was going to kill Askeladd, really, he didn't want that at all. He just wanted to duel him forever, and Askeladd knew that. He said that, hey, you get too emotional when fighting me, and that's why you're always going to lose, which is true, but really the reason he was always going to lose was because he didn't actually want to kill Askeladd. He just wanted that crux of someone to lean on and view as a father figure, which he ended up ironically viewing Askeladd as. Also, I don't really understand why Thors was even sought out in the first place. I don't think they ever really mentioned it or gave a good reason, but his friend went and kind of tried to recruit him and then hired Askeladd to kill him. But what I don't get is Thors wanted literally nothing to do with fighting anymore, so why seek him out at the edge of the earth to bring him back just to kill him? I mean, he couldn't possibly have still wanted Thors dead for deserting, I wouldn't think, but I mean, I guess maybe that's the only thing that actually makes any bit of sense, because I really don't think that there was any need to do that. You could say like, well, in the battles, if things got really bad and Thors got forced to fight, they didn't want him to be against them because they would probably lose that war. But even that seems like kind of flimsy reasoning, so I wonder if they're going to expand on that anymore in the following season, since that guy is still alive, and I really feel like with Askeladd dead, that should be Thorfinn's real target, because that's actually the person that hired his father to be killed and not just the hand that did it. I was surprised that Thorfinn never went back to see his family. Honestly, I thought they were going to be a much bigger part of this show, considering they had a lot of screen time, especially in the first few episodes there, but nope, they never went back for them. So I wonder if in the next season they're going to get a little more screen time, because I feel like they were good characters, especially his sister, who seemed to be getting developed as the person who has been providing for the family since obviously Thors is gone and Thorfinn left a long time ago. So all the burden of the household was kind of placed on her. So I expect to see her become a much stronger character in the next season, because it'll have been quite some time that has passed. Thorkell was also incredible to watch, and he was probably my favorite character in the whole show. I just loved the simplicity of him wanting a good fight for a good fight's sake, and just someone that could send him to Valhalla. I think it's just kind of endearing seeing someone that will always generally fight honorably, and if they think they can best you, then he's all there for it, and he just wants to have a good fight, which, again, I really loved. And it also makes you think pretty heavily just how strong Thors was if he knocked him out with just one punch, didn't even break a sweat. But when he got mad at his army for interfering with the fight with Thorfinn, I just loved that scene because it just showed how honorable he was as a character. I also loved him kind of helping the new king out after Askeladd died and, telling him to stand on his feet and just do his thing, because I think he's going to become kind of the new advisor to the king now that Askeladd is out of the picture. I also really appreciate the continuity of this and showing how he keeps getting more scarred every time he fights Thorfinn, like he's lost his fingers and he's lost an eye now, and I just think it's really fun to see that development of a character and actually see them gain those kind of battle scars, and it just makes them feel very not stagnant and very dynamic of characters that are constantly changing, and there are real effects to the encounters that they have. The entire death of Askeladd scene was incredible too. It was just perfectly executed, and he finally found something that was worth dying for, and he knew that he couldn't get to save both the prince and Wales, but he just ended up caring for these people so much, and obviously the prince and the people of Wales, and something enough to give his life up for. He also, I think, thought about Thorfinn and thought that Thorfinn couldn't actually be the one to kill him in the end, because Thorfinn wouldn't know what to do with himself. So I really think it makes more sense the way he died, and having someone take that away from Thorfinn is going to make him stronger as a person. And then at the end, when Thorfinn drops his dagger and literally his life is flashing before his eyes in that scene, it was a absolutely perfectly executed moment in cinema, and it's so perfect that I almost don't want a second season because of just how well this ended. That being said though, I'm not going to complain about getting a second season because I did absolutely love this, and more Vinland Saga is okay by me, and considering it's based on a manga, I feel that the quality will probably sustain itself since they have a bit of a roadmap to go off of. From the little I understand about season 2, or the second volume of the manga, it's going to have a small time jump, which is not unusual considering we've already seen at least one, maybe two time jumps in the first season, and he's going to be a slave and just kind of a broken man that's trying to figure himself out. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a bit of a slower second season than the first one, so I wouldn't put my expectations too high on too much violence and drama and fighting, though I definitely think there will be some of that. I think it's going to be more of a redemption arc and getting Thorfinn back to where he was, and even better perhaps, where he can now move on from the death of his father, and he can just learn to grow himself and get back to those good old fighting Valhalla ways. But I think him being a slave is a great plot element so that he can understand exactly his father's viewpoint on slavery, because we know Thors really didn't like slavery and thought no person should be treated like that. But from everything we've seen, everybody else doesn't care, and everybody else likes slaves because they think it's, cheap, easy labor. But obviously Thors didn't, and I think this will be a good opportunity for Thorfinn to understand that as well. He's going to grow as a person because of this, and I think he'll probably gain a purpose in life again and something worth fighting for. And it's just something to ground his character and turn him into a true hero and protagonist of the show. Overall, I really love the show though, and there's so much more I could talk about it, but please let me know what was your favorite part of the show down in the comments. I'm Keegs, and I will catch you all shortly to talk about Season 2 of Vinland Saga.